Government motion. Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury will move a proposed resolution under the Public Finance Ordinance. Members who wish to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. I now call upon the Secretary to speak and move the motion. President, I move that the motion as printed on the agenda be passed. The purpose of this resolution is to seek fundings on account to enable the government to carry on its services between the start of the financial year on the 1st of April 2026 and the time when the Appropriation Ordinance 2026 comes into operation. This is an essential procedure. The specific arrangements follow those of recent years. According to the budget timetable this year, the Legislative Council will resume the second reading debate and conduct the third budget meeting of the Appropriation Bill 2026 at its meeting on the 22nd of April and 29th of April 2026 respectively. As such, the Appropriation Ordinance 2026 will not come into operation before the 30th of April to ensure that the government will not need to halt the provision of public services, including those closely related to people's lives such as education, social welfare, healthcare, and security due to a lack of funds when a new financial year starts on the 1st of April. We must propose this resolution. The funds on account sought under each subhead in accordance with the fourth paragraph of the resolution have been determined with reference to the relevant provisions in the 2026 to 27 estimates of expenditure. The initial amount of funds on account under each head, which has incorporated requirements at subhead level, is provided in the form of a footnote to this speech. In gist, the proposed funds on account should be able to cope with around 2 months of the government's operational requirements. The aggregate amount of funds on account is $181,709,402,000 before the Appropriation Ordinance 2026 comes into operation. This represents around 28% of the total appropriation of $652,470,746,000 under the Appropriation Bill 2026. For recurring expenditure subheads, we in general seek 20% of the provisions as funds on account. For non-recurring and capital expenditure subheads, due to their irregular nature, 100% of the provision as shown in the draft estimates is sought. The government has to spend substantial financial resources providing public services every day. In the first week of the 2026 to 27 financial year alone, the government's major expenditure items to be settled will exceed $128 billion. Including one, subvention payments for around $8.5 billion to the Hospital Authority, 2, payments for the Comprehensive Social Security Assistance and Social Security Allowance totaling around $1.4 billion to about 100,000 families and 130,000 individuals respectively, 3, grants of around $1.7 billion to UGC-funded universities, 4, subsidies of around $500 million to about 720 kindergartens, and 5, pension gratuities of around $740 million to retired civil servants. To ensure the normal operation of the government, I urge members to support this motion. There are also other expenses such as salaries of contract staff as well as accounts payable to suppliers. It takes some days to complete the statutory procedures after passage of the vote on account resolution, including the gazettal process and procedures for issuance of the vote on account warrant, so that the government can make payments starting from the 1st of April as usual. Subject to the above aggregate amount not being exceeded, the resolution enables the Financial Secretary to vary the funds on account in respect of any subhead, but these variations must not exceed the provision for that subhead in the 2026 to 27 estimates of expenditure. To enhance transparency and in line with the established practice, we will report to the Finance Committee of the Council if the Financial Secretary has exercised his authority to meet necessary requirements. The vote on account will be subsumed under the Appropriation Ordinance 2026 upon its enactment and commencement. President, I beg to move the motion.
I now propose the question to you that the motion moved by the Secretary be passed. Mr. Alan Chan. President, I'm not going to speak. I made a mistake.
如果冇議員係表示要發言嘅話
Now, if no other member wishes to speak, we will now proceed to the vote. I now propose a question to you that the motion moved by the Secretary be passed. I put this question to you that the motion moved by the Secretary be passed. Will members please proceed to vote? Members please press the present button. And will those in favor please raise their hands? Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of the members present. I declare the motion passed.